Whoa, sun in your eyes. Good morning, YouTube. Sunday morning coffee. So yesterday, didn't get a lot done. We only worked about half a day because it was Mother's Day and Dan and Amy had Mother's Day things to do. So Carrie and I just took off and didn't do much of anything. It was kind of nice. But we did get a couple of rows started. So the first thing that we had to do was, if you remember from when we did the footers, we had these reinforcing rods coming out all the way up when we poured the other wall, but we wanted the concrete to touch concrete so that there wasn't a squishy layer between the two pieces of concrete where that rebar, even though it would have went into both pieces, it could have, you know, jogged up and down. So we took the circular saw, made a kerf on either side of that, and then just took a claw hammer and started wailing on it, the backside, the claw part of the claw hammer, and just started wailing on it. And yeah, it takes a while, but it came out, and then it made a big old mess down here everywhere that we then took the shop vac, blew it all up in a corner, and then shop vacked it to get it out of there. Also, the footer right here had gravel from us backfilling. Occasionally you would spill gravel in there. It also had the little crispies from the first pour. We taped all of the nubs, and if you're doing it in multiple pours, you definitely tape the nubs. We had a couple places where the tape blew off, and we had concrete in those nubs. And well, no, I can't show you because we've already covered it up, but it doesn't do them any good to dig the concrete out of there. It rips them up pretty good. So we just used packing tape. It was oxidized, so it didn't stick great, but we would just run a linear run down it and then go over the top of it from inside to outside to get it to stick long enough to get the concrete poured, basically. And packing tape worked great, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper than anything else. Nothing sticks to the styrofoam once it oxidizes. It just rubs off on your hands and everything. Anyway, that's what we did. We're going to be a few corners short, I think. I've already talked to the supplier that we got these from out of Springfield, and they said no problem on getting new or getting additional ones, and they stock small quantities that we just have to figure out how to meet up with them and get them. We got our openings. So if you can see these little white, these are the cap washers that hold the dimple mat on, and I just used it as a marker, rough marker, to say, okay, there's going to be the edge of a door opening. Then I have a center column, so I have an edge of a door opening there, and that'll be my center column that'll go up. So there'll be two garage doors, one here and one over there. This is going to be a 9-foot door. That one's going to be a 12-foot door. And the reason that we're putting in a 12-foot door is that if we ever have a dually pickup truck, we have in the past when we had our toy hauler, if we ever have a dually pickup truck and wanted to park it in there, it's a hell of a lot easier to get the big mirrors and big fenders in a 12-foot door. And then we still have enough room. So here is the edge of that door on that one. We still have enough room on the side for lots of storage, to park a lawnmower, you know, you name it. There'll be quite a bit of room over on that side. So what else? So yeah, like here are the Crispies that I was telling you about. We got most of them out, but that's what I was talking about. That was just laying on top of the tape from the pour. And then when we took the tape off, it just all fell everywhere. And it seems like you would have more area for it to fall outside the wall, but inevitably most of it seems like it falls inside the wall. We'll probably, so when we poured this, we were just running out of concrete. The pump was spitting and sputtering. And so we get some of it that's like really high, and then we get other areas that are really low. And unfortunately, our door, let's see, yeah, this was all still doorway. our concrete is going to be about right here. So I got to get all of the, that's not going to be too bad, but I got to cut out all that concrete to get to where we can pour the slab over the top of it, because I want the slab to go over the top of the this concrete wall. Then we have it turned down around the edge. We still got to clean it up and everything, but we got to pour the walls first. We started grading this and realized that I was running too steep of a slope. I was thinking of 1/4 inch a foot, and as I got to researching it more, garages usually do 1/8 inch. 1/4 inch would have been 7 inches of fall from the front of this to the back, and it just looked like a hell of a lot of fall. And so I started looking again, and sure enough, 1/8 of an inch is what most of the places out there recommended, or level if code allowed, and we don't have to worry about that. But I don't want it level. I want water to drain out. But I know, like mom and dad's garage, and it has a epoxy coat on it also, it only has like 1.5 inches of fall, and water just stands on it. It does not have enough fall to make it drain out. It's not bad. You can still wash it out and squeegee it, and it all goes out the door, and it doesn't try to run backward on you. It just doesn't run out on you. So 1/8 inch of fall, I think, will work. It'll keep the slush snow melt heading back towards the garage doors at least. Okay, so we think the new plan, we were going to try to pour this all in one, right? But that was going to be awful tall back on that wall. The wall itself, if we were going from like floor level, wouldn't have been that bad, but we're not. We're going from several feet below floor level as far as floor for the main house, and then we have to get all the way up to the 11 something of that roof line above floor level. So what we think we're going to do is pour it in 2 pours, and the first pour, so we don't have to rent a boom truck, a pumper truck, we're just going to pour with the skid steer. So we'll dump from the concrete truck into the bucket, take the bucket up, and carefully dump it into the walls, and then have somebody with the vibrator and doing all that stuff. The other thing that we have to do is our concrete consultant, Kevin, he worked for a concrete company for many years doing, commercial, all kinds of project concrete, not just flat work. So a lot of walls, a lot of vertical stuff. So he definitely knows what he's doing, and he's helped us several times with working on this house. And he was worried that this wall, since this wall is so short, this is where our walkway door comes off of our patio back here. Since it's so short, once you load this wall up, it's going to want to push that wall out. The weight of the concrete will push against that wall, and it won't have anywhere to go. And so every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Newton's second law. It would push out on this wall, and so it would hit the end of that wall and want to push that wall out. This is what we fought on the basement, and the only wall that isn't pretty damn straight is in the basement because we didn't internally support that. That's his recommendation, is to internally support it. Well, that means that we have to drill into this wall, epoxy, and then run, we're going to use the threaded pencil rod. It's just so much easier to work with, and the threads will hold into the epoxy. So we drill a hole into that wall, we set the threaded fiberglass rod in epoxy, and then it will come over into the doorway. And then we will start again on this side of the doorway. So the door opening is like, you see the cut line here, and the cut line here, and the bottom of the door is going to be somewhere around here, which will be level with the top of the porch slab. And so anyway, epoxy rod to here, that will support this little section, and then another rod from here to support that little section. And then above the doorway, the door is probably only going to be a 6'8" door. So above the doorway all the way up, then we will run a rod epoxied into the concrete on this side. Come on, camera, follow me. Epoxied into the concrete on this side, running straight through all the way to the outside edge, and then clamped there back. So that's what they're talking about when they say internal reinforcing. Instead of having kickers on the outside, you're actually pulling the wall together from the inside, or at least keeping it from pulling apart. We're not really putting a lot of pressure on it before the pour. It's just tight, snug, so that when you pour, it doesn't go anywhere. I think that's it. We're gonna go cook some breakfast for Mother's Day, and then I think we only have about 2 rows to stack out before we are at the lift capacity of our Bobcat. We got to do some backfill, like on this side. We're doing pretty good on backfill. I can reach up pretty decent. Over here, I need to get some backfill done and get it up to the same height so that we can dump over. This side, we all did it one time because there's not going to be any concrete poured out here. We didn't care if it settled a bit. This side is where our approach slab is going, and so as we get ready, I got to destroy my ramp and lay this in small layers and use the plate compactor on each layer so that it tries to compact it. It never will get as tight as millions of years of sedimentation, original soil, but it will at least make it tight enough that I hope it doesn't settle. This soil doesn't settle too bad anyway, but I don't want my apron to crack. Okay, that's it. We're gonna go cook some eggs and bacon. Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Dan, what's up, dude?
I can't get the up and downs.
Oh man,
I'm too short.
we also got to slide some rebar in here after since
squishy.
I've already started on this one.
I think that's too many.
Duck. So these are our center section that is in between the 2 garage doors. And as I mentioned earlier, we're only going up about 6 feet and pouring out of the bucket for our first pour. And then when we go on and stack the rest of it, we'll get a pumper truck on that day and not have to rent a pumper truck twice. So these are going in there, and then we're using treated 2x12s all the way around. A 2x12 measures 11 1/4. Hey Dan, these measure right at 11 1/4. They must have thought that out. I was thinking they were 11 1/2. What?
I was thinking they were 11 7/8, so I like that better.
Okay, so we thought we were gonna have to shim out a 2x12. Turns out these are 11 1/4, which is what a 2x12 is. So that is probably by design somewhere. So that means that we'll do a treated 2x12 as our fox buck instead of using, as our bucking, instead of using the fox buck, because I wanted something a little bit more substantial for the garage door to hang on for the tracks, because the tracks will screw into here. We'll also put a 2x6 on flat on the inside, running up this way, for stuff to land on also. So we'll do a 2x6 on each side, that'll support it. And then on the back side of that buck, we're gonna use a, I'm hoping a 2x4. If not, we'll have to rip something else down. But we'll dovetail it, we'll put angles on it, and then screw it onto the back of the buck with the angles opening into the wall. That way when it fills with concrete, those angles will lock everything in and keep you from having just a single, if you just put the buck onto here, if your wood ever shrank or anything else, you would have a crack in between your concrete and your wood. By putting that chunk of wood on there, not only is it anchored into the concrete, but it also makes it to where you have to go around the corner 1, 2, 3, 4 times in order for wind or water or anything to actually go through that crack. So that'll help hold it to the concrete and help make it more airproof. So I gotta get some clips to clip that. Let's see if we can clip it to the bottom. I don't think we can. So our concrete is down in there. Actually, I only want one in the center. I will be able to get one. So our concrete pour just barely left us enough room to get the clip in there. It's not a big deal. If you don't, we just go and put a strap on the outside wall and screw this block to that block. But we got it. This one, and I'm not wanting to put the clips over here because that's where that 2x is going to go, and so it'd interfere with that. So I think one will
Kind of hold it.
We'll strap it too. These will all get straps all the way around because we learned on our blowouts that would have eliminated our blowouts. Also, we designed, when we figured out where our cut lines were, instead of cutting on this side of the Fox block, which meant you had all of this unsupported, we cut on this side because we can decide whatever we wanted for our spacing. And so now the only part that's trying to open up on us like a door is like an inch instead of up to 8 inches. So that'll also make it to where that won't get a blowout in this section. But we'll strap it anyway, hold everything together. Okay, and we got 2 pieces out of a full. So that gets us to our 4 blocks, which is what we can reach with the skid steer to dump in. Action. Okay. We got some stuff done today. So.
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
And that's a wrap.
We're done.
See you next time.
See you next time on Educated Guess. Okay, so we got our blocks stacked out, and as I mentioned earlier, we're going to pour these and dump it in with the Bobcat so that we don't have to rent the pumper truck. And that's why we're only going up 6 feet. And 6 feet from about where the other concrete is at. This new white block is only about 5.3 feet. Isn't that what we said? Something like that. 5.3 feet. 16 inches times 4. So we're bracing it on the inside for this time. Just because we need to be able to run the Bobcat out to the outside edge. And then we'll probably move all of this, once that pour is done and cured, we'll move all of that out to the outside because we're thinking of pouring the second tier and the floor on the same day. You'll have to tune in later to see if that actually happens. So since we're only like going to be, 4 feet up, we're not doing a railing or anything. We're just going to put a 2x8, single 2x8, no 2x4 or anything, and brace it in. When we did the scaffolding in there, we actually had a 2x4 on here, front braced all the way down to the floor, and that became our safety rail as it went past the catwalk. Here, we're just scabbing on some 2x4s, throwing a 2x8 on it, and it'll be fine for this short pour. Then when we go to the outside, we'll actually put it a little bit more substantial so that we can get a safety rail, because I like safety rails. But I did get up on this one. It held me. I didn't freak out too bad. Okay, bye.